Now, like I mentioned earlier, the chords for the backing track are going to be E minor, G, D and C. 1 bar each, that's 4 counts. So we'll be hitting all the root notes for all the chords, which is E for E, G for G, D for D and C for C. So we'll start with the E note on the 3rd string 9th fret, and for a G major chord we'll be playing a G note, which we are familiar by now, which is on the 2nd string 8th fret. And for a D major we'll pick the D note, which is on the 3rd string 7th fret, and if you move that down by a whole step you'll get a C note, which is the last target note. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4 G, 2, 3, 4 D, 2, 3, 4 and C, 2, 3 and 4. We'll try this over the backing track. Now that sounded pretty melodic over the backing track. Now what we'll do is we'll add a technique. So instead of adding slides, what we did in the major backing tracks, now we'll learn a new technique which is called a hammer-on. Now hammer-on is more like a slide, and we'll pick a random note on the 1st string, we'll take the 5th fret. So pick the note on the 5th fret using your index finger. So right after picking, what we do is we use our middle finger and hammer it on to the 6th fret. It's basically a tap, but we do it on the left hand. So pick the note on the 5th string and tap the note on the 6th. That's a hammer-on. Imagine your hammer hitting a nail. It's exactly the same movement. You can try it with other fingers too. You can try the ring finger on the 7th fret. And you can try the pinky finger also. It might seem a little difficult in the beginning, but you'll easily get it within like 20 minutes of practice. That's all it takes. And later you can make it like a warm-up exercise. You can start practicing this. Pick, hammer on, pick, hammer on, pick, hammer on, and then backwards. And on different strings. Make sure that your thumb is flat behind the neck. Never hold your guitar like that. I've been telling you that since the beginning of the series, because it'll be too hard for you to hammer on if you have your hand in that position. You would definitely need your wrist, and you would need to put all your power from the wrist to the finger. So try it out really slow. I'm just showing it to you how it works. So when you practice it really slow. It's easy to get used to it. Now instead of sliding on to the root notes of all the chords, what we'll do is we'll hammer on all the target notes. So our target note is E. Instead of playing E like that, we'll hammer it on from the previous note in the scale, which is D. So we'll play 2, 3 and 4. And the target note for G chord is a G. We'll hammer it on from the previous note in the scale, which is F sharp. So it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So it's F sharp to G. And the next target note is a D. We'll hammer on from C. The next target note is a C for a C major chord. We'll hammer it on from B. It'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We'll try this over the backing track. Now the third note for an E minor chord, if if you're not really familiar with the minor triad, it's easy. All that you need to remember is the major triad. Major triad intervals are 1, 3, 5. For minor, the intervals are 1, flat 3 and 5. So the only difference here, if you notice, it's a third. If you flatten the third from a major, you get a minor triad. Which means you'll have to remember the E major triad, which is E, G sharp, B. If you need a minor triad, you'll just have to take off the sharp from the third note. So it'll become an E, G and B. The G sharp becomes a G. You'll have to flatten the third. Now the target note for an E minor is a G. So we'll play G here. And the target note for a G major is a B. It's G, B, D. So the B is the third note. And for a D major, it's an F sharp. It's D, F sharp, A. So F sharp is our third note. And for a C major, we have E as the third note. So we'll be playing 1, 2, 3, 4, B and F sharp to E. We'll try that over the backing track. Same way like the previous target notes, we'll try to add hammer on all the notes. So it'll sound like this: F sharp to G for the first target note, and A to B, hammer on. So you pick A, hammer on to B, and F sharp is our target note. The previous note is an E, so E to F sharp, hammer on, and the next target note is an E. So we'll hammer on from D note. So it's going to sound like this: 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, and 4. We'll try it over the backing track. So we'll apply the same thing on the fifth. So the fifth of an E minor is E, G, B. The B note is right here, second string, 12th fret. And for a G chord, it's a D, G, B and D. The D is on the first string, 10th fret. And D major, D, F sharp, A. A is right here, second string, 10th fret. And C major, C, E, G. So you have a G right there, second string, 8th fret. So we'll play 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, and 4. We'll try it over the backing track. Now we'll try adding the technique. So instead of playing B, we'll hammer it on from the previous note in the scale. So pick A, hammer on B. The next target note is a D for a G major chord, so hammer it on from C. The next target note is an A for a D major, hammer it on from the previous note, which is G. And the next target note for a C major is a G, hammer it on from F sharp. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll try it over the backing track. So like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to play hammer-ons on all the notes. It's not required. It sounds very mechanical if you do that way. It's easier if you understand the feel of the melody when you apply different techniques. So you can try to experiment with the techniques on particular notes, come up with slides, and you can add hammer-ons on whichever note you feel is necessary. And try to use the backing track as much as possible. I keep saying this because it's very important that you apply what you've learned.